everybody, welcome back to the Magical Man Cave. I know I've been a little bit absent lately and not uploaded enough videos, as much as I would like anyway. And the reason being is that I've been spending an awful lot of time doing things up in the Magical Man Cave here because I had a launch party on Saturday. I needed everything to be right for it, so I needed everything complete. And so the Magical Man Cave is fully complete, and what I'm going to do in this video is to give you a bit of a tour and show you all of the details and the things that you might have missed in here, because over the period of time that the Magical Man Cave channel has been online, I've done so many things that I haven't documented, some things that I think are really cool, little nuances, little details. And what came to light on Saturday, when I had probably about 22, 23 people in here, was that, first of all, it's quite crowded, but secondly, more importantly, there are details in here that I kind of forgot myself, and certainly I haven't documented everything. So just before the party, I filmed a little bit of a video tour, and I uploaded it to Facebook, and people kind of just went, oh wow, I like this, and I like this, and I like that, and have you tried pausing it for some of the details? And I thought, actually, if you do pause it, there's a lot of stuff that I haven't documented yet. Now, if you've been a member of this channel for any time, then you will have seen some of this stuff already, but there will be an awful lot of things, I guarantee it, that you haven't seen or haven't understood what's actually going on in there. So let's get to it. I'm going to show you everything. Okay, so the very first thing is this Ouija board. The Ouija board itself is from Nemesis Now. Obviously you can't use it now that it's on the wall, but I think it looks really cool as a feature piece. I took away the glass. I might use that later for a Pepper's Ghost illusion. This Ouija board, really awesome, great start. And we've also got this ivy that's growing out of the wall above it. And I had to consider the ivy before I started building the wall. So this one, if it ever breaks or comes down or gets ripped off or whatever, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to need to rebuild the wall or something. But the ivy I think is really neat, and the fact that it goes over the Ouija board and it sort of almost frames it. I had to use a bit of florist wire to make sure that the shape was right so that it could sort of frame it rather than going straight over it, because I do want people to see this thing. Just above that we've got the moving portrait, and this one is from a company called Atmos FX, and I have done a video about that. It's linked up here. Above that one is the ghost hole. This is essentially a hole in the archway where I put a video of ghosts running on a monitor. This one is also controlled by a Raspberry Pi, just like the moving portrait. But the tricky thing here is because of the way that the monitor's mounted in the archway itself, I wasn't able to get some of the cables in the right orientation, so I had to basically put the monitor upside down. Therefore, in the Raspberry Pi code, I've got to flip the whole monitor upside down. So sometimes it gets a little bit stuck, sometimes it needs a bit of a reboot, but I've handled all of that in the coding. Now, we could either go behind the bar or across the top, and I think for now I'm going to go behind the bar. This one is almost certainly never seen on camera before. This is a metal sign that references Alice in Wonderland, talking about how Alice sometimes thinks about 6 impossible things before breakfast. And I think that that's really neat, and it kind of summarises the whole man cave vibe. Turning back on ourselves now, this is again some of the stuff that you will never have seen before. This is the on-air sign, which tells me when I'm going to go live in the man cave. Now obviously I haven't done very many live shows in the man cave, and I've certainly never done it from a professional studio setup like I've got at the moment, but that one is going to be really useful for when I'm live. I will know that I'm live and it will be linked into the broadcast itself. As we start panning across, we've got some plug sockets and also some ambient lighting for the bar itself that can change it into different types of lighting. Now this is really kind of handy so that when I'm filming behind the bar, doing cocktail videos and stuff like that, I can make it really bright, really airy so that you can see what's going on. And when I'm not doing that and when I'm just vibing in here, it can turn to blue and red and all of those sorts of colours. I could even change it sort of flashing sometimes, maybe even in tune with some of the lightning effects that go on here as well. I've got a whole load of stuff on the shelves. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything because I don't think we've got enough time to do that. But what we do have is things like frog's breath and other bottles up there. I've got a zombie hand, which is actually a cast of my own hand, which I've got another video about on another channel. I'll put a link up here for you. And I've got the Skelly Grow bottle that's in the archway on the other side. Now, coming back down over the other side, we've got the drinks mixer. This is a book which has a chemistry mixer inside it, and that reacts to a magic wand. And I've done a video about that one, linked up here. We've also got the wand weighing machine. This wand weighing machine also has a sign above it. I've done two videos, one about the wand weighing machine, one about up the sign. I'll put all of the links down here because I'm not sure how many cards I'm allowed to put up here, but the wand weighing machine is all controlled by an Arduino. That's all programmed by me. We've also got some light up mushrooms just above it, and then we've got a 3D printed sign which I have done a video about fairly recently, and again all the links are down in the description. Above that we've got a fairy door that I sculpted myself, painted and put on the wall, and then we've got some of these pub signs, things like never conjure under the influence, and again I've done another video about all of those signs and how I made those, and I'll put the links down there. Then we've got the magic wands. Now most of these are Noble Collection, but some of them are also from Universal Studios in Florida, and below that again I've got a 3D printed sign which I created myself. That says genuine Ollivander's wands, 7 galleons. Moving now towards the back wall, this is the main sort of feature wall I suppose of the pub. I've got the Gobble Inn bar tariff sign. Now that one is probably one of my earliest videos on this channel. I created it myself, I painted it with blackboard paint, and I then went through and hand did every single letter, but we did design a stencil. My son Daniel and I spent about 3 days weeding it to make sure that all of the little pieces of plastic were removed before we then carried on and actually painted everything and then peeled the whole thing off, and it looks gorgeous, but that took a very long time to do, as did the entire wall. All of these pieces here are carved by hand. They're actually made of foam. Then we've got this dado rail across the back, thanks to my wife for suggesting to put all these stars on there. That took about another 3 weeks. Then we've got the sign that says beware of the, and there's a big bite mark out of that. I might redo that. Some things about that I'm not terribly happy with, so I might change that. But generally speaking, I think that's okay, and it does look pretty cool there. And then we've got another one of these signs. We've got some magic wands, certainly not all of them. There is another video about my whole wand collection, and again I'll put the link down there. Then we've got my Ravenclaw crest, and below it a bit of a family crest, and that's a bit more of a personal touch. That was given to me by my grandmother shortly before she passed away, so I want to keep that one up there as a bit of a emotional, personal thing that I want to have in my man cave. We've got Hagrid's wand up here. We've got a wanker bar. Sorry about the swearing, but it's W-A-N-K-A, and it talks about the golden ticket and all of that sort of stuff, and that was given to me by one of my patrons. Then we've got this picture just behind me. That's actually a birthday card, and I cut off the front of it and I framed it just because it looks so beautiful, and I thought that actually needs to be a bit of a piece within my whole man cave, and now it's in every video. Coming across to the back then, we've got some books on the bookshelf. We've got the magical sconces which flame away and sort of give that flickery effect, and then on the other side we've got some shelves, we've got some bookshelves, we've got some mandrakes which I created myself, and again I'll put the link down there to the video about that. Then we've got the farting skeleton, and again I'll put the video down there if you want to see any more of that sort of thing. I've got my guitar just on that same wall over here, and that one plugs into the fireplace, and again I've got a video about that down there. Then we've got the flue powder 3D sign. I've already talked about 3D signs a bit. Then we've got some cauldrons and a skull, and I've done 2 videos, each one about the collection of each one of those, so I won't go into that, but again links down there. Then we've got the fireplace that smells like chocolate, and again link down there, links down there for everything. And then we've got Ferdinand up here with again another 3D printed sign. We've got Esmira with a 3D printed sign. We've got the smellitizer, which I'll come to in just a moment. Then we've got the pumpkins just up there, and they talk. Crazy, I know. Then we've got the TV, and then a whole bunch of cupboards. Now each of these cupboards has a moon, you'll see, printed on it, and when you press that, it opens the cupboard. Excuse the mess inside it, because sometimes they're not terribly organised in there, but this is just to hide all of my stuff away, things like the cameras and the extension cords and the cables and tools and stuff like that. But you'll see each one of these has got a door sensor on it, and those door sensors all link to Home Assistant, and Home Assistant then links to Ferdinand, so Ferdinand reacts. So if you open a certain cupboard, he will say,
"You won't find anything in that cupboard."
So he's very grumpy, and then that kind of brings me on to the next thing. This is my armchair over here, and if you sit on that, he will tell you off, because this is his armchair. It's very much reserved for Ferdinand. Anyone sitting in this armchair, he will start shouting at you. Now finally, back over to almost where we were with the initial first thing, the Ouija board. This one is the biggest of my cauldrons, and it sits just underneath my robes. The robes themselves are hung up on a hook that says robes in gold leaf. The other thing I kind of want to mention is some of this lettering across the top, which took a very long time. That's all in gold leaf, and again I've got some videos about how I made the gold. Then we've also, across the top, we've got the Do Not Feed the Ghoul hatch, which I don't think I've done a video about, but basically it's a hatch and it's got some gold leaf on it. And then we've also got the thunder and lightning effect, which I have done a video about. Again, the links are going to be down there. So I think that's pretty much everything. There is only one last thing, and that is these candles. These candles are all battery operated, but they do link in up here to an infrared blaster which turns them all on and links it all to the smart home. So if you do want to know any more about any of that stuff, ask me questions down in the comments. I always respond to everybody, and I love to hear the interaction that goes on about some of the videos and stuff that I'm making. Now the next thing is really exciting. It's going to be phase 2 of the man cave. So now that all of this stuff has been done, Daniel and I, my son and I, have been thinking, what do we do next? And we've planned out a whole schedule for phase 2. This is really exciting, and it's going to involve an air compressor and 4D cinema stuff. So making things shake, making things blast air out, and changing the vibe in here. So it will involve the smell machine, which hasn't been made yet, but it has been specified. And I've got a whole load of parts here, like a little smell pod, bit of a sneaky peek there, and I've got some blanking plates and stuff like that. Nothing particularly exciting to look at just yet, but it is going to change the entire vibe in here. And I'm also going to be linking up smart home stuff with Dungeons and Dragons. So if you're interested in Dungeons and Dragons, smart home stuff, animatronics, any kind of pneumatics, home DIY or tech in general, magic, illusion, all of that stuff is going to be covered on this channel in the future. So thanks ever so much for watching. Please do click that like button, subscribe and ding that bell, and I'll see you again next time with some more magical awesomeness. But until next time, as always, stay magical. Okay, we're all done. Should we just stay and chat for a bit?